Alrighty. Okay. I think that's everything set up. Let's move this over here. This here. Okay. Oh, good. Let's go on the game. Hey, Talos, how are you doing? Sorry I'm late today. Right, there we go. Took a while for my animations to start there. Alright. We gotta beat this frog. I gotta beat the game today. Where we left off last time was one more level in desert, the only level in the last area, and the golden frog in both these. Been good, I'm glad to hear. Glad to hear. We had a good weekend also. It's Monday, right? I forget. I think it's Monday. Alright. I hate this level, so let's start with that one. And after that, I have to find the other golden frog, so that would be a thing. If it's not in this level. Oh, right. Okay. Starting off strong. Nope, okay. That is not a platform. Nope, of course. Alright, good start. As far as the achievements go, I actually don't have many left also. I did some cleanup off stream because one of the achievements was that sewer level that took me 2 hours to beat. Do it without dying. And I felt that wouldn't be good on stream content. So the only things I have left to do are basically beat the game, which I'm doing a fantastic job of, and get the high score, which is just play the game a bunch and don't game over. So I'll play a lot of easy levels for that one, I think. Okay. I see orange at the end of there. Okay, so let's... Okay, I think... I know where 3 frogs are. There are 2 frogs in each of the areas, like the 2 big mountains here. Whoa! Let's not get hit by the boulder. Oh, Jesus. Fairly certain there's a frog at the end of those alligators down there. Because why else would they be there? Go? Yeah, alright. Squash there, okay, no. How do I avoid... Ah, okay, so the seagull does go to that area, so I need to avoid the boulders there too. Fantastic. Let's see if I can go to that seagull. That seems to be the way to get down. I see a life at the bottom there. I'd love to get that. I'm so good at keeping my lives, as you can see. Okay. Woo! That was complete luck. Ah. Mistimed that. No worries. Ah, okay. Ooh. Ah. I need to figure out what the timing is for these beetles. You wait for boulders. Okay. Wait for boulders. Grab the life. So how does this one work? Ooh, that's a weird timing. Okay. They just sort of go... Wow. In opposite or time... Yeah. Left to right there. But it seems like the seagull appears right when the boulder is going to kill me the most, so... Interesting. Oh. Let's not get ahead of myself here. Alright. I just wait here. And then move at that point. Okay. Yeah, okay, this is... I can do that. And just wait for when the eagle doesn't line up with the boulder. Like that. Yeah, okay. We're getting somewhere. Don't know where, but we're getting there. Okay. I want to explore this area. Okay. Oh, I see. Okay. We have some tumbleweeds. I only have 6 seconds left. That's the life. Oh, okay, that's where the alligators are. Oh, Ray, thank you so much. Thanks so much for the raid, Austin. I'm playing Frogger and I'm doing it badly. We are on the last 2 levels? I believe. And hopefully, I can beat 2 levels in the 2 hours I'm streaming. But, I don't have too much confidence in myself. Okay. Whew. Okay. Nope, nope. Alright, we're exploring down here again. Oh, thank you so much. I'm so close to beating this game, finally. I had this game as a kid, and I did not beat it because it's way too difficult. This is my revenge. Okay. Alright, we have green over here. And I have no more time, so I just need to hope for the best. Let's do it. Oh. Okay, well... We at least know where green is. That's nice. We now know the locations of 4 frogs. So let's see if I can get one of them. That'd be nice. Ah! Nope, nah. The camera is so zoomed in on this area. got? We good? We're good? I don't trust it. No. Okay. I hesitated. Let's try that again. That was... Okay. No one saw that, right? These bounces. Grab one. Okay, we're good. Ooh, that was close. I think. Yeah, wait here. Don't trust that. Let's wait for the next one. Oh, I forgot where I had to stand. Ooh, man, these beetles. Nope. Thank you so much. I sure hope I got this. This intro is kicking my butt, to be fair, and I have to do this 5 times, so... Oh man, thought I could beat that one. Thanks so much for the follow. Okay, we're good. Let's not make the same mistake as last time. Alright. Got the light. No, I didn't. Okay. Wait here. Then wait here. Okay. The little texture that I can do that. Okay, I can wait there. Nice. Okay, we're good. We're good. So green is this way. Yes. I'll take a small attempt at this again. There's also a life here. It's very nice. I am stuck in an N gauge, yes. Actually, I'm stuck in a Nokia 3300, but it's basically an N gauge. I like it here. It's nice and cozy. Oh, they can eat me as well. Okay. The timing for that one seems like it's bad. I'm not a fan of that. Ah. Okay, let's try and go down to the bottom area again and search for the other frog. Yeah, it's nice. Oh, got distracted. I like my little N-gauge phone here. There are fireworks outside. I don't know if that's getting picked up by the microphone. That sucks. It's not even July yet. Whatever. Okay. Wait here. Don't get scared. Okay. Let's see where else we can go down here. Okay, that's green. There's another path here. Oh, okay, we have some of these. Another life, that's useful. Okay, that was... Camera's not the best there. Okay, we have tumbleweed. And red. Okay. Fantastic. We now know where every frog is. So let's see if I can get some of them. Hesitated. Again. My biggest weakness. Myself. Okay. Let's try and get green. Green seems like it sucks. The green's down here. Let's wait for, yeah, that one. Ooh. Oh, okay, we're good. Ah, I thought I could land on the beak there. Shame. Dang it. Yeah, I knew that would line up like that. Okay. Let's do this. Yeah, okay. Whoa! Okay. Let's grab green. And his life. Okay. Oh, it was so close. Hit the very back of that beetle. Okay, that's fine. We know where they all are now. That's great news. I think green is going to be the most difficult to get. Thank you so much for the follow, Austin. I'm glad my terrible gameplay didn't chase you away. I need to stop jinxing myself, or putting myself down. Okay, well, you know what? That run didn't happen. Never played this Frogger? Which one have you played? I've heard Frogger 2 is way better than this game. Everyone who's played Frogger 2 is astonished at how bad this one plays. This is the only Frogger game I've played, so... Ah. Frogger's Adventure on the GBA. Ooh. Is that one like more RPG? I've heard some of the Froggers get into like RPG mechanics. Ah. It's like this? Okay. I didn't know there were so many Frogger games, honestly. Well, I always forget where the boulders land. Oh, hey! You used to love this game as a kid? I did as well. I didn't get this far though. Played every Frogger game on stream. Like, I might do that. This one hasn't like broken my spirit that much. Thanks so much for the follow, Daniel. I already have it like. Okay, let's go down here. Speedruns Frogger's Temple. Ooh. I also do some speedruns as well, so I think speedrunning this game would drive me insane. I should check out some of the other Frogger games as well, because again, everyone says this is like the most frustrating one. I definitely have. I'm starting with the worst one here. It seems like. Let's go over here. Let's go. One of my friends on the stream yesterday mentioned that like one of the Frogger PS2 games, like Frogger is like wearing like khaki shorts and everything, and it has like a weird RPG. So this series definitely goes places. Okay. Here, I keep forgetting which one to stand on. You'd think the only one with a texture, it would be obvious, but okay. I need to figure out how to tell. Did I get the life? I'm pretty sure I got the life. I did. How to tell that these are going to beat me. I'm just going to stare at them for a little bit here. It does a little shake before it opens its mouth. Okay. Is that fourth one safe? It looks it. Okay. Is the next one safe? No. Go. Ah. Okay. Dang. Okay, that fourth alligator is safe. Let's jump here. I think this one. Nah, okay, I need to figure out what the timing is, or the positioning is for the first. Nope, that's just the wrong. I'm gonna quit out of that one. I'm pretty sure the Beatles are on a not a global timer, but a timer for when you start the level. So the first time I play the level, it will always be the same same pattern. But then after that, it's kind of random. It's just obviously depends on when you die. So with that in mind, if I stay here, yeah, okay. 2 super hops, and then don't run into the beetle at the end. That's the strat. 2 super hops and don't die. That's the new strategy. One, 2. Don't die. Perfect. Ah, didn't get the life and hesitated. Oh, hey Cinder, how you doing? Sorry I was late starting today. Real life happened and it sucked. I think that's good. Okay, that's good. Glad to hear it. Hopefully with the vibes of a patient turtle I can beat this cursed frog that's been haunting my life for the last 3 weeks. Why did I do that? Yeah, thank you. Summoning me with my spinner. We're not 1 week posting in my chat. You're lucky I still don't know how to ban people. Alright, let's wait here. Get that life. And wait for another... Yeah, there we go. Wait for that. Then we're going here. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Good start. Now, we found out this fourth alligator is safe. So now it's just figuring out this pattern. There it is. Okay. Whew. I just kind of just went, so if I die or when I die, I'll have no idea what to do again. But it's fine. We got the worst frog out the way first. Oh, hey, Lucky. Thank you so much for the subscription. Ah! Down here. Okay, we're good, we're good. Don't hit me, eagle. Okay, we're good. Nope. Ah! I get scared. I get scared of where the boulder's gonna land. How are you doing, Lucky? It's been a hot minute since I've seen you around. Here? Yes. Okay, let's grab red. That was... I should not be alive. Okay. So there was a enemy here. Yes. Another life here at least. And then tumbleweeds. Okay. That's the two frogs on the bottom layer. Let's get the one on top of this mountain. Okay. Taking this one a bit slow. I don't know where all the boulders necessarily go. I think I'm safe here. Safe here? Oh, they're not rendering. That's even better. Okay. We were safe at least. Okay, that's 3. Let's go to the other mountain. Now, I do not remember this pattern, so this is going to be great. Let's see, let's wait here. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and then the outs. 1, 2, 3, and then the outs. Wait here, yep. Are you kidding? Are you kidding me? I did not know there was a boulder there. Okay. That's fine. We climbed the mountain once, we can do it again. In theory. No, you don't. Okay. Sneaky, sneaky, back here. Alright. I think I'm safe here. Oh, why did I do that? Now I'm on my last life. This sucks. Well, it wouldn't be my stream if I didn't bungle it. Okay, we're good, we're good. If I can just get 2,000 more points, I'll get another life. That's reasonable to do. Wait here, go. Wait here. Wait here. Oh, didn't get me this time. Okay. Last frog. Please be nice to me, beetles. Okay. Okay. Ah! Okay, that's not a safe point for the eagle. Oh man, last life again. Whew. You're safer. Okay. It's just walk forward. All I need to do. Just go forward. Just go forward, just go forward. Okay. Oof. Oh my god. Finally. But now I need to find the golden frog, which I actually think I know where it is. Ooh. Sorry, excuse me. So when I was playing this last time, I did realize I never explored to the left of this area. This map is a copy of level 1? Level 1. So I just went to the same places the level 1 was. The frogs were at least. So I never looked at this area. So I'm guessing they probably put the golden frog here. Okay, I forgot I had no lives. Skip that. So if the golden frog is here, that means we're on our last level. Finally. Grab this life. Nope. Ah. The stampede. Okay. Okay, we're good, we're good. And then... Yeah, okay. Fantastic. Pretty sure I can just quit out. Never actually tried that before. Did it count? Yeah, it counted. Okay. Let me save the game. And then we'll try the last level. Tropical Trouble. Okay. He was in the crevasse. Again, I was just thinking, like, I didn't check that area last time, so... Oh, 1,000 points for those? Okay. Let's see what we've got. Nothing over here. I clearly have to cross this river. Okay. Don't get eaten. Kind of like rule number 1, really. Hippo? There's a rhino on this one, okay. And I'm almost out of time again. Oh, and there are fish. This is a cool level. Yeah, I can't. I'll check out this area first. Does that rhino go in a circle or in a line? Circle, okay. I see a monkey down there. Yep. That's a lose time. That sucks. Scorpions. Oh, hey there, computer. How you doing? Oh my god. Ah. Okay, there are 2 rhinos there. Your favorite? Oh, Piranha Plant. Okay, I was wondering what you were talking about. I completely forgot about Piranha Plant. Oh. That's probably death. Man, it's been a while since I've played some Smash. I need to play it again. Surprised they haven't made a complete edition for the Switch 2. Oh! The bridge collapses. Hog. Well, that's one frog we found. Four more. Let's go meet Piranha Plant again. See how to get past him. Get rid of the monkey. Don't click that one, but don't collect that one. What's down here, actually? Ooh, a life. I'll take that. Embarrassing. Okay. So how do you work? Let's go fast? Okay. There's so much level up here. What's going on? There's orange. Man. That's a lot. That's a long way to go for a single frog. Let me go up there again. Why did I grab that? I knew it was a lose time. Okay. Alright, so the plant gets triggered when I am one tile away from it, but it doesn't matter the direction. Okay. That's useful. So the strategy is go up from here. Yes. And there's orange. I'll just grab it for now. Well, it looks like there's even more over there, so you just have to go. You need to be sprinting for this one. Okay. I think the monkey stopped there for a second. I don't know what cycle they're on. That's fine. We're good, we're good. Okay, another... Ooh, what's this? Ooh, what's this? There's green. What's in here? Nothing. Okay. That's just there for funny. Okay. Okay, let's head back there. We at least saw another frog, so it's just figuring out how to get onto there and get there fast enough also. Woo! Okay. Alright, okay, we can get here at a decent time. Now I need to figure out how to jump onto this. I also saw there's a bridge here. Okay. Okay, that's 3. And we know where green is, so now it's just finding red. I'd imagine red's also in that area. Because I can't really see anywhere else to go. Purple. So how do I jump up here? Okay. There's more. I can go down here and die, I guess. Oh yeah, I forget the hippo goes up here. Maybe I just follow the hippo for a second. Where do you go, my guy? Oh. Okay. Sure. How dare you? Yeah, I deserve 2 of those. Take a while. Let's maybe grab this one here because these fish suck. Okay. You know what? That's fair. Oh, that's death. I am a double sucker for that. Especially since I should have known that would happen, because it happens everywhere in this game. If you stay on any moving platform for too long, you just die. You'd think I'd learn before the final level, but hey, here we are. That's just too much. Nah. Alright, 2. Okay, we've got big hops now. Which actually kind of messes me up because a lot of this is timing based. That's fine. Grab these. Get as close as we can to another life. Okay. Right, give me a quick second. I think my keyboard's very loud. I'm gonna mute. Alright, sorry about that. Okay, still don't know how to find green. Or how to get to green. There's something there. I want to try and get to that area. But the timing for the logs there is kind of annoying. If I just get there fast enough, I'll have more time to contemplate. I mean, technically I could jump down here, right? I don't know if I trust that. Let's just go on here, wait, get closer to the bridge before I jump on one of these guys. Like there. Does the hippo just go underwater after a little bit? I keep forgetting to get the life down there. Okay, I'll grab the life after this. After I die here. I have no idea. The timing that just seems kind of weird. Guess just need to get there faster? I'm just glad this level isn't as crazy as the previous one. I shouldn't say out loud because I haven't found all the frogs yet. Maybe it isn't a crazy place. I pressed down. I pressed down for that one. That was a camera issue, and I jumped into the mouth for that one. That was on me. It really is a janky camera. Like, it's maybe the jankiest I've had to use in a while, and I love it. Oh my god. I don't know which direction. I pressed left, and I went right. Okay, new strategy. Let's not jump at the corner. Oh my goodness. I'm going to ignore the first 3 frogs, since I know where they are. I may as well... The log was one far away, I didn't think that. Yeah, it really is disorientating, it's crazy. In the second world, there was lily pads you could jump on. And they rotated you like 360 degrees, but you can only jump in cardinal directions, so it's basically random which direction you were going to land on. It was really annoying. Here is probably a good spot. No, it wasn't. Let's try that again. Whoa. Yeah, this game is great. I really do enjoy this game, but it is... Okay, we're good. Alright, we got over here. What is here? Nothing. I spent all that time getting nothing. Ugh. Come on. Where are the last 2 frogs? Well, 1 frog. I just don't know how to get to green. Oh, this is a different place. Okay. Oh boy. Okay, there's red. That's the last one, right? Think so. Right, I'll wait there. So I'm just missing the golden frog. Which, I'll worry about that later. Let's beat the level. Let's die. Let's get my lives back before I do anything else. Okay, so we have... The only one I don't know how to get to is green. I know where green is. There's just some weird jump puzzle. And we can deal with the jump puzzle. Probably. What? Oh my, I forgot about the second rhino. That's crazy. Let's head to red, if I remember where to go, which I think is... Oh. On one of the hippos there. Man, that timing. You'd think I'd be used to it. It's basically the entire game is timing. Okay, let's grab light blue first, because the first time you load into a level, all of the platforms are in different places. So I want to grab one I know how to get before I do anything else. Yeah. Now these are where I expect them to be. Okay, so that is red there. There's a life down there, but if I try and get it, I'll just die. So there's no real point. Wait for that rhino. Wait for this monkey. Okay. Pretty good so far. Okay. Oh, the monkey tried to get me. Okay, then down here. Nice. Now just to look at green. Well, how many lives do I have? 6 lives? 6 times before I die. Because I have no idea how to get to him. Do I have to go, like, around the back of the temple? I see some things on the left there, and left and right. I can't jump up here. Okay, that's the first attempt done. Oh no. as fast as I can without dying, preferably. Okay. Any of these platforms... Oh, this one? Alright. Ooh, okay. Oh, we're still going. Okay, looks like I have to enter the temple now. Crazy. This level was so much easier than the previous one. Alright, what's in here? Ooh, okay. Oh. This is like the only cutscene in the game. What's that? Okay, they're just all gonna leave? Is that just death? Are they just... Oh wait, it's water, of course, they're frogs. They can do that. Goodbye. Ooh. It's Mrs. Frogger. What? Nice. That is some crazy... You're right, that's some crazy frog lore. You saw Mrs. Frogger? Yeah, you could tell it was the wife because she had eyelashes. That's how it worked back then. Only women are allowed eyelashes. I'm pink. Yeah, that's true, that's true. As we all know. You gotta love the Comic Sans credits as well. Oh my god, we finally beat Frogger. All it took was 12 hours of my life. Or something. Yeah, that's right, she is just... and again, she's pink. That's how you know they're a girl, that's shorthand. Alright, so I only have one retro achievement left, and that's get the highest score, so that's just play the game a bunch. Because I have some extra time, I'll just do that and hang out. But I'm also jamming to these credits. This is a... What's going on with the... Sorry. The video on the left, bottom right there had like Frogger going some clouds. I didn't go in any clouds that level. Is that like a debug area? Or an old version of the level? Am I overanalyzing this footage? Probably. Yeah, Hasbro. This is a Hasbro Entertainment game, I think. Quick second, sorry. Okay, skip high scores. So I have a high score of 37,000. I have to get 250,000. And unfortunately, everyone says the easiest way to do it is to play the spider level. I got 26,000 points here last time. So, in theory, I just have to beat this level 10 times in a row. So, yay. So this is my life now, is avoiding spiders, which is really my life in real life too, because I am so scared of spiders. There was no way this stream would end any other way, honestly. Ah, well, at least I got the life. How is everyone doing? I'm doing great. Oof. I swear I'm gonna do this and I'll beat the level like 9 times and then I'll get game over and I'll cry. That's my ending strategy, I'm just gonna cry. Already got that one there. It's just like the sound effect of them crawling is just a little pitter-patter, but it unnerves me so much. Okay, and then I go select level, and then I just do that again. So that's the grind. This is why I do the things I do. At the very least, the lives respawn, so I just need to get those again. And eventually, I'll be so numb to the fact that I'm looking at spiders all the time. Surely. I do need to go faster because I get more points the faster I go. So I have to be less scared. Dang it. I need to find the route with the least number of spiders. There's 1, 2... Dead end. There's 2 on that route. I think all of the endings connected. Let's find out. So there's 1 here, and 1 here. Yeah, okay. All the ending areas connected. So if I just always go the same way, I'll never be scared. One, 2. Okay. I think we have a strategy here. 1, 2. Woo! Woo! Yeah, even that last one, I just have to go around the back. Perfect. See, now, easy. This is, I'm sure, riveting content. Ah, okay, there's a spider that way. Let's not go that way. I deviated from the plan and immediately died. I don't know if it's just me or not, but the darker it gets, the scarier the spiders get. There we go. Okay. Alright, we are at how many? Start. 11 out of 25. Almost halfway. If I was smart, I would have done this before the last level. So that fun cutscene with Mrs. Frogger was the last thing I did, but as we've established, I'm not very smart. Frogger will never go skiing. I'm dooming him to do this one level 4 to 5 more times. I probably should not have grabbed all the lights there. Whatever. This is what achievement hunting does to people. You should never do it. Honestly, you're right. This is that one Silent Hill image. It would just be. It's just my luck that this is like the easiest level in terms of points. Especially after beating this world and me saying I'll never have to see any spiders in this game again. At the very least, this is pretty quick, so I understand why this is the level everyone just goes to for this this achievement. Okay, 2 more times? Based on that, that run by the looks of it. I hope there's not an extra 0 at the end of the requirement for this. I didn't look at it that closely. It would be crazy if it was like 2.5 million points for this. Okay. I believe this is the last one. Wrong way. Great. Okay. Let's finish this level off. I think I then just... Oh, hey, I got it! Alright, we did it! Perfect. We are done. We're done with Frogger. I don't think I can actually exit from here. Exactly, never again. I'm never playing this game ever again. Oops. Back. Ah! It's pause then select. Then like, okay, there we go. Let's enter my name. They didn't let me enter my name. That's so mean. Why? Well, man. Whatever. I got everyone saw I got the achievement for it. It's fine. I'm only slightly salty about this. Okay. I have a little bit of time left. I did start late, so I'm going to go a little bit late. Let's see what I can do here. I'll let Frogger run for a little bit here. Oh, this game. It was fun. I mentioned before, a few times actually, I had this game as a kid, never beat it before, so this is definitely a avenging my youth kind of situation. I know exactly what I want to play, so let me see if I can get the information for that. Ooh, this image is crusty. Let's use this. I didn't think I'd actually beat the game, so I haven't set up my fun streamer layout for this game, so I'm doing it live. Let's go here. That would be an amazing way to see if my stream setup can work this quickly. I believe that is how I set this up. Let's see if I can do this. Alright, so I have some fancy stream stuff. Let's close the game. And then close that. Okay. Now I can change. Again, doing this all live. Will this work? Oh my goodness, it worked. Yeah. I'm actually kind of happy that worked. Okay. I'm gonna try out Cylitle. Just for a little test run because I love this game. At least I love the PlayStation version, but I found out recently there's a WonderSwan version. So I want to try that. Psy, which is also, as you know, XI, Psy, is also known as Devil Dice, is my favorite game of all time. So let's see, as I figure out where my legit copy of the game is. There you are. Okay. Ooh, listen to that crunchy audio. Oh, we're having a good time now. Make the game, the window bigger. Let's... Oh, and then my other thing crashed. Don't worry about it. Everything's fine. That's why I have a cover. Let's go here. Let's process this. Nope, that's the wrong one. It's this one. Okay. And then if I press this button, do we get a video game? We sure do. Okay. This is Cylitle. I love the soundtrack so much. Get the easy retro achievements out of the way. Change my color. Pink. Alright. I'm gonna just do some trial stuff. It has been a hot minute since I played any Devil Dice, so I do have to remember how this works, especially it being this crunchy. Oh my god. So, Devil Dice. I don't know if anyone is familiar with this game. I'm realizing right now, as I'm playing, that this is a terrible game to stream because I do not know what to talk about. So I have to concentrate so much on not beefing it. That's pretty good. We got 3 chain. Nah, I think this is pretty self-explanatory. So yeah, Devil Dice. This is one of my favorite games of all time. Oh, what is my favorite game of all time? So the idea is, it's a basic puzzle game where you control Little Devil. That's the pink creature on top of the dice here. and to get points, you have to pair dice together. To get the dice are paired based on the face on the very top. So, for instance, let's see, I have a 2 here, and if I put 2 2s together, I'll get 4 points because that's 2 and 2. And if I add any more 2s to that, I will then keep getting more points, and it just chains together like that. And then it goes 3 3s, 4 4s, 5 5s, 6 6s. So the way to get the most points is to go for 6 6s, because you get just, you know, bigger number, better points. But it is a lot more difficult. The only one that's not that doesn't work like that way is 1s. So, for instance, you see there's a few 1s around the board. If I, let's see, trying the best way I can do this, just make sure this is set up properly. So this is a 1 here. If I set off these 6s and then set off a 1 next to it, oh, whoops, set off a 1 next to some dice that are going down, I then get rid of all the other 1s across the board. And that's basically the entire game. The PlayStation version has a mode that's like a battle mode, so whenever you get points, you deal damage to other devils along the board, and I'm terrible at that game. Luckily, this game is single player, so I don't have to worry about that. Nope, can't do that. I'm not doing well here. Let's do that. Get this 6 up here, that way. Okay. More 6s. Whoops, wrong way. Ah, messed up. Oh well. It does, yeah. Yeah, when the field is filled up, you lose. So the longer you go on, the faster more dice will appear. When I'm on the ground, I can also push dice. And that will mean I don't actually rotate them. So it makes it a little bit easier to know where they're going to go. And yeah, you have to basically know how dice work. Go 4 there. Another 5 here. There's the symbol at the very top. You see the you have a little counters to what the die you're on, the 3 faces you can see. And from there, as long as you know how dice work, because every opposite sides will add up to 7. So you know what every face is. So for instance, I'm on this one here. I see in the top left corner it's 5 and 4. So I know if I go left, it goes to 4. If I go left again, 6, then 3, then 2. And, probably get some... No, I can't get a 6 out of that one. Nope. Down for 6. 6 there, and 6 there. Okay. There's a 1 there, so I can do a funny roll. Whoops. Ah. Messed up there. Get back up. Put that one there. Sweet, another 6. Let's get this 6 here. Get a 1. Get that 6 on there. Ah, and then I lose. Three's going. 3. Oops. 1, 2, 1, 3. 3 here and a 3 here. I can do another 3 there. 4 to... Nope, dang it. 3 here. Get back on here. Get that 3. Get these 3s. See, now we got a combo going. Get that 3 there, that 3 there. Get that 3. Ah, barely missed it. Okay. Let's go for a simpler combo. Let's go with 2s. See what we can do with this one. There'll be a 2 in there. 2 there. Dang it. Almost got it. Let's go. Okay, so 6 there, 6. That'll be a 6 and a 6 down here. I'll make that one a 6. This one can be a 6 there and there. And I go down here and I push this down to get that 6. Hey! Hey, nice. We got a high score. That felt good. That felt good getting that on a bunch of 6s. Let's see. We can move. Ah, the 2s caught me. Let's see if I do this, I can get these 5s. Oh, that's a 4. I messed up. Okay, to get this, I want... Nope. You do that, and then it's a 5. Okay. Nope, okay. Get some more 6s together. That's a 6 there, that's a 6 there. There'll be a 6 when I move over there, so let's not do it just... Ah! Dang it. Got caught by the 2s again. It's a 6 when I go down. Oh, now it's already set up. Need it out, so let's do this here. 6s. 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 Ah, I barely missed the combo for that last one. That's fine. Some 1s going. I have a score of, I see there, of almost 4,000. The record there is 10,000. I'm pretty sure I need to get a 10,000 score for the retro achievements, which seems ambitious. Nope, can I get that 2 there? Ah, dang it. I didn't realize I was on the 2s there. Yep, thank you. I keep accidentally getting 2s. Whoop, I just pushed a 5, nice. I mean, I totally meant for it to do that. That 5 going there. Connect these 2s, connect that 2, connect this 2. Get 1s by accident. I see a bunch of 6s up there. Let me try and get them. Nope. Ah. Yeah, I think the only way I'm going to get that record score is if I go for all 6s, so... Let's do that and inevitably die, because it's so complex at that point. Okay, let's move this 6 up there. Oops. Keep accidentally getting 2s. 6, 6 there. That's another 6 there. I just keep moving everything to be a 6. Eventually they'll all connect. Like this. Yeah! Yeah! Now that's a combo. Oh my god. Alright. Hey, let's do that again. Whatever I did that time, let's do it again. Do that to there, there, and then will this connect? Yes. Pixie's there. Kind of messed myself up there, but I can connect these. And that's it. Okay. Bang. Push that. Ah. I need up. Help me up. Thank you. Six. Oh, these ones are like a weird edge. So I need to like move them. This, that can go down there, that can go this way. That will be a 6 there. Just quickly connect that one. There. Oh. I need more 6s. I've gone 6 crazy. Let's do that. Do that. Get this guy out. Do 6 there and then there. And then go down here. It'll be another 6. Now let's wait for some more die to show up. See if I can figure out where to go. Okay. Do that. Ah. Not quite. Almost. We're almost at 7,000 now. See, this game is very weird to say, but it's very Puyo Puyo in my mind. Like, a lot of it's the setup. And also, tangentially, I'm very bad at Puyo Puyo. Which is kind of embarrassing because I worked on a few of them. Let's see. Let's do that, then I can go in the corner here to get this 6. And then there. 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 There, and there. Down one more, come on. There. Okay, that's the end of that one. Alright, that one felt okay. It's getting a little bit scary here with the amount of dice. I just need to start comboing them immediately. Especially the ones in the corners. When they get in the corners here, they're very... I just can't move them anymore. I have to be pretty careful to not have them pile up in the corner. That's a 6 when it goes there. There, there. And if I do that. Yeah, that was not that good. I won't. Let's get rid of some more. Let's get some 4s going. I get a single combo of 4s, never mind. Ah, the 2's got me again. Okay, this will go to there'll be a combo of 6 if I go to the right. I can get these ones. I can go down. And then that combos to... Oh, I think that was like a frame off. That sucks. There we go. Almost on that one too. We're at 9,000. Let's try and get that 10k. This was a dangerous game to load up because I forgot I just lose myself into into these silly dice. But this game is so much fun. To be honest, I'm actually kind of shocked at how well this game like runs on a Wonder Swan of all things. Ah, the 2's got me again. Like, the original was a PlayStation 1 game. Like this. I need to connect it down here, so let's... Oh, I got 3s instead. Ah, I got 3s instead. Let's do that. And then 6 and 6. And 6. And 6. Hey, and we beat the record time. The record score. Very nice. Ooh, another achievement. What was it? A ranking of B. Very nice. The ranking goes up to X. I think it goes like F to A, and then almost adding F to A, and then S, and then X. So there's no way I'm getting anything higher than this tonight. Why can't I move this way? Whatever. 1, 2, and 3. I think I'm gonna let the board fill up here and call it a day. They might check out. I'll show a little bit off the puzzle mode as well, because the puzzle mode's also a lot of fun. I think it actually makes more sense than this. I need to stop playing. Okay, I got a nice round 12,000. Let's stop there. And watch as this board slowly fills up. But yeah. That's going to be the end of the stream here. I ran a little bit late because I was late starting up because of life, but as it goes. Now that I've beaten Frogger, I'm going to play a few streams of this game because I'm fascinated by a Wonder Swan version of a PS1 game. That's just the kind of, I wouldn't say entertainment, it's kind of purgatory you'll get with my stream. I also have been trying to figure out what I want to do with others, the rest of my streams. So the idea is I'm going to be streaming basically only retro games, maybe some indie games, maybe some speedruns if I can, if I feel like it. It's going to be a lot of Wonder Swan, Game Boy, and PS1. Those are like the 3 areas that I'm the most interested in. However, I also, as you've been seeing in the corner here, I've been getting retro achievements. Those are a lot of fun. Yeah, exactly, no AAA. Unless I get a rank AAA in this game, that's the only AAA you'll ever see. I have to deal with AAA with my work. I don't have to deal with it here. Ooh. Oh, this is a crunchy sound. Oh my god. I love this soundtrack. See what happens? Oh no! Goodbye. I got BBA. Let's go. Oh, I get 4 I get 4 characters here. How do I go to the next? How do I? Hello? How do I go to the next one? Hello? Oh, wait. No, how do I go back now? There we go. That was embarrassing. I don't know how things work. Yay! What's data mean? 22 minutes, level 18, max chain of 10. Okay, okay. I mostly got 6s, which, yeah, that's fair. Alright! Save data, yes. Save finish, nice. Okay. Yeah, mostly these older games. So, I've got to say, retro achievements are really fun. Just like a really interesting way to play older games, so I've been going to do a lot of that. I think a very, very long-term goal of this stream is to get every achievement in every single Looney Tunes game, because that sounds like a lot of fun. I've been wanting to play the Bugs Bunny Crazy Castle games for a while. This seems like a good way to do it. I want to replay Bugs and Taz on the PS1, and there are a bunch of games like I just never heard of either. So I think I'll play some of this, and then I'm going to go to the next one. Yeah, I think I can't remember if I actually beat PS1 Bugs Bunny. I think it's Time Turner or the Time Busters. Time Busters, that's it. I think I rented it as a kid. Never beat it, so it's also on the list of I want to beat this PS1 game. But like, there's a Looney Tunes racing game on Dreamcast that looks super cool. There's a Looney Tunes Osu game on DS. Wait, Dead by Daylight, guys? Wait, what? Are you serious? I'm looking this up now. Behavior Interactive. Oh my god. They also did Monsters Inc. Scream Team? Wait a minute, is this like the best dev team ever? I did not know they played ball like this. That's amazing. Okay, fair enough. Well then, I definitely have to play Time Busters sooner rather than later. That's crazy. Yeah, like I think they're mostly doing Dead by Daylight now. I don't think they really do anything. Well, they've done like a few things. I think they were behind that terrible Silent Hill project as well, at least some part of it. Oh, they're doing the new Serious Sam. Nice. Okay. Like, in theory, I like Dead by Daylight, but I don't. There's no more to that sentence. I'm gonna quickly do these. I think there are trophies for every single level, so you're gonna hear my stupid alert go off a lot here, but this puzzle game is just basically teaching you how to play the game. It's really cool. Can I do this faster than my alerts can go? Here we go. And then I am kind of cheating because these are the same puzzles as the PS1 version, a game I play all the time. I say as I completely forget. Oh no, I died! Now the alerts are going to catch up to me. Ah! Need to push this one out. Go down here, then I push the ones. Yeah! Okay, I'm gonna stop there. Get ready to hear that 90 more times the next time I play this game. Yeah, this game's a lot of fun. That's the wrong button. Ooh! Oh, that wood texture looks awful. Oh my goodness. Let's exit. Let's exit! Yeah, save data. Okay, overwrite, yes please. Alrighty. Let's close out of this. Goodbye, Sigh Little. I love you. Alrighty. Yes, I do not know if I'll stream on Thursday. Anime Expo is happening this upcoming weekend, and unfortunately, I'm working there. So I might be having to do a lot of that stuff. But I'll post on Blue Sky if I'm streaming, or if not, because I might just be. Honestly, you shouldn't. AX sucks. It's super crowded. It's the most annoying thing in the world. Fly to Magfest. Come to Magfest next year. Magfest clears AX so hard. They're friends. They're friends at Magfest as well. I'm your friend. I'll be at Magfest. I mean, I know you. I'm sure you want to go as well because there's a lot of stuff there. But yeah, Eder, I'm really glad you could make it as well. You managed to see the end of my struggles with that darn frog. So I'm glad that's finally done. Yes. Hopefully, y'all can come back. If not Thursday, next week on Monday. And yeah, we'll play some more of this game, and hopefully the soundtrack won't get on your nerves like it's already doing to me. All right, I'll see y'all later. Bye.